Um, this video is being live streamed, and we will have our captions on. I think we will have our captions on. Yes, we will have our captions on. And yeah, so today we will be just covering a little bit of what, just going over a little bit of what we covered on Tuesday, but today mainly we will be going over the executive order. All right, Bill, did you want to say anything?
Well, as you probably all know, we are live streaming this session and all sessions, except for the coffee and conversation and the unhappy happy hour. We live stream those to our YouTube channel, and you find that at NWSOFA.org, and just follow the tab to the YouTube channel. And I was kind of kidding with Chris a few minutes ago. I said we have 85 hours of for her viewing pleasure. But in fact, in the last 2 weeks, I think we have 8 or 9 that are up there, which is like 10 or 12 hours that people can go up and just click on that. You can share it with friends. You can review it at your pleasure, and it will be available within 35 seconds of the end of the meeting. So it's kind of cool. I see people are actually on it when we start. Just a huge shout out to the sorting group folks here, the attendees, the leadership here, Cecilia, Dr. Chris, Rebecca. You guys are just doing such great work on some tough subjects, but we need to talk about them. And that, I think, is wonderful. You guys rock. So just keep going.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you. All right, so getting started. Again, my name's Cecilia. Hello, and your host today. We are down a doctor, but that's Dr. Melissa. She's in the middle of a move, but we have Dr. Chris calling it in. She's from San Antonio, Texas. We're down Adrian too, but that's all right. So we have Rebecca, a timekeeper and tech support, and we have Boot Money, Chaos Gremlin, and Wizard, Philosopher, General, Absolute, Awesome, Shaman. All right. So give us some grace today. We are without a couple of people, but we will be moving on and moving forward and making our way through this wonderful day. Moving on to logistics.
Sounds good. So, for those of you who have returned to the sorting soup, thank you for coming back. For those of you who are new, welcome. Just a quick overview of what sorting soup is all about. It is a group with a twofold purpose. So part of the purpose is to take the current events and issues of the day and process through them as a group. And that can get a little heavy, and people can get very passionate. So just keep in mind that we are all on the same side here, and we are a community. But then the other purpose of this group is to take all of the emotional processing that we do and see if we can gather any insights from that, and use those insights to make kind of an action plan, because that always makes me feel better if we can take any kind of action, large or small, to help make things better. So this all started a few months ago in Coffee and Conversations After Hours, and some of the topics that we were getting into really just needed a little bit more time to go deeper and decompress a little bit. So we meet every Tuesday and Thursday at 4 Central, and here we are. So now that we are all together, Some of our group norms are once we get to the part where we invite group discussion, the way that you can ask to participate in the group discussion is you'll raise your digital hand. For those who aren't familiar with that, in your Zoom menu, you should have an option that looks like a heart and it says React. So you'll click on the React heart and then you will have a menu in there and you'll be able to raise hand. So click the React heart and then raise hand. And that'll get you in the line to contribute. So we ask that people keep their comments civil, constructive, neighborly. And if possible, come with a solutions type mindset. We are talking about a lot of heavy problems, so if we can keep things productive, then even better. As far as the chat goes, if we want to say something once or twice, that's fine. No need to post things repeatedly. And then as things are pretty heavy, pretty tough these days, we do ask that if you find yourself getting, a little too passionate, that you take breaks, step away if you need to, do some deep breathing. And then as far as the format goes today, we're going to pretty much split our time 50-50 between processing and brainstorming. So we're going to stay in one big group. And again, a lot of it will be in that group discussion. So folks will have the opportunity to raise their digital hand. And I think I forgot to mention previously, but each person will have about 2 minutes to share their thoughts. And Cecilia mentioned previously that I am serving as timekeeper for the day. So if a bunch of people have their hands up and you've spoken for more than 2 minutes, I may unfortunately have the unpleasant duty to move the conversation along, which will involve me interrupting. So just a reminder, try to make room for other folks to speak as well. You can raise your hand again if you have more to say. We do invite that. So with that, I think we can move on to the work. Oh, but
Okay.
first.
Elise, but first, there's always that. But first, Elise Cole, yes, Dr. Chris is answering you. The Indivisible call is recorded and you can always get a copy. You can watch it, on YouTube and they will send it out to you in the email. But second, we will breathe a little before we get started. Sorry, y'all. I caught that out of the corner of my eye. Needed to answer that question. Whew. It's been a long day. It's Thursday. My Thursdays are full up. I have Zoom after Zoom after Zoom after Zoom. So I just, I feel like I need a little breathing. Yeah. Also, did anyone else see the Intercept article? Perhaps. I'm going to drop it in the chat and I was going to talk about it in a minute after our breathing. So here we go. Welcome, everyone. Sorry, it's been a long day. Did I mention it's been a long day? Make sure you are in a comfortable position. Got your feet on the ground or you're sitting, laying down. Take a deep breath in. Fill in those lungs. The bardo is the space in between crisis and response. between what has been and what will be, between despair and imagination. Whether you know it or not, it's the space where we are right now. So let's take a moment to pause. Breathe in, deep. Breathe out. Ask yourself, what am I holding on to right now that feels too heavy to give a name to? Take a deep breath in. Hold it. And exhale out through your mouth. What truth have I been afraid to speak out loud? Take a deep breath in.
Check my email.
Exhale. And what is still possible, even here, even now, with everything that's going on around us? Deep breath in. Exhale. Let each breath be a small act of resistance against numbing. Let it soften your body, even if only slightly. Let it make room for grief, for truth, for clarity. Breathe in. Again. You are not alone in the in-between. Exhale. What do you need from this soup? When you're ready, we'll begin. I dropped the Intercept article, and it covered the New York Times Hamas aid to Israel and Gaza famine. And the issue with that primarily was the information. The New York Times repeated Israel's baseless claim that Hamas was stealing aid nearly 24 times before its own sources contradicted that talking point, an Intercept analysis has found, as Palestinian people suffered mass starvation and risked their lives to find food amid Israel's blockade. And the problem with that is that along those lines, then 60 Minutes and other reputable news sources then put that misinformation out further, and then people like us fight amongst ourselves saying that Hamas is stealing food, and we fight. You know what I'm saying? It furthers the conversation. We fight, and it causes more problems. So I would just say that please read that article, and I would hope that we would revisit that conversation again. Now, if you haven't already, please put your name and location in the chat. Let us know if you're a newcomer to NWSOFA and the soup. And what are you grateful for today? That'd be really helpful. And also, something that we are really trying to start, and I need to be reminded, have you used any self-help or not self-help?
Self-care.
Thank you. Not self-help, self-care techniques. We're trying to work on our self-care, and keeping up with our self-care. So, so if you've been keeping up with your own self-care, and if you've been really keeping on that, drop it in the chat or let us know. Or if you've come up with a new one that's really been working for you, that would be good for us to know. All right. So moving on.
I just want to, I'll share my self-care thing and I'm going to put it in the chat. I've been rage knitting welcome blankets for immigrants. There's a website called, I think it's welcomeblanket.com or welcomeblanket.org. And rage knitting is productive and meditative because you don't really have to pay attention once you would know what you're doing. So shout out for rage knitting.
That is beautiful. And I totally understand. You get into the rhythm of it, and that can be cathartic, and oh my gosh, I can totally get that. And you can also crochet or knit, that whichever is your jam. That's
Exactly.
fantastic. All right. And yeah, Dr. Chris, you have the late evening walks with Olivia. Totally. I love this. Okay. So yes, today we are talking about that executive order, the one of the latest ones. And whoa, Bruce walked 12,340 steps, and July you averaged 14,000. Okay. You've just the layers today, Bruce, the layers. I mean, they just peeled off. So I didn't mean to get distracted again. I apologize. Okay. So, I'm sorry, y'all. Today we're talking about the executive order that passed on homelessness and mental illness, supposedly. The president signed a new executive order this week. The stated aim to address homelessness and expand care for serious mental illness. But many are sounding the alarm. Expanded coercive treatment, more federal support for institutionalization, less focus on housing first or structural root causes, not to mention the fact that the institutions are closing. So if the institutions are closing, where are those homeless people going to go? And I think we know the answers to that. That would be private prisons and concentration camps, which they're building with gusto. And yes, Jose, outlawing homelessness is as ridiculous as trying to outlaw cancer. That is a fair statement. Thank you. We'll break down what's in the EO and what it means for our communities and how to push back against punitive or carceral trends masquerading as help. Well, yeah, we're going to try that. We're going to try to do that. We're going to talk about it. We're just going to discuss it. I think that really what we need to do is just talk. What I would like to hear from y'all. What responsibility do we feel when systems or governments target vulnerable communities? And what messages have you been taught about poverty or homelessness and who deserves help? And how can emotions be a starting point for action or connection? Mary, go for it. Just, oh, you have to unmute, hun.
Okay.
There you
Well,
go.
I just read like a doom scroll post, I guess, how locally, I think it was Santa Ana in California and El Cajon were um, how do I say, they were threatening a church because they were offering humanitarian aid to homeless people, and another was, I think they gave tickets to 12 people who were helping to feed the homeless. And I mean, I hadn't heard that. There's like a Senate bill, I believe, that's there. It's going through. I don't remember the number. I'd have to look it up again. But to, to outlaw, punishing people for being kind is essentially what it is. So, but I wrote letters to the city managers and the other people in the on the city council, and I just said, shame on your city. I said, shame on you. I said, homelessness is not a crime, and certainly helping people who are homeless is not a crime. And in the face of your failure as political leaders to provide housing, right, for people who can't provide it for themselves. And
Yeah.
it was just a short, just a short online couple of letters that I sent to them, basically shaming them that it is their fault, that people, lose their income and they lose their housing, or they can't afford the housing because it's so expensive. And or I said, there go I, but for the grace of God situations. That there's all kinds of situations where people end up homeless. And punishing people who help them by feeding them or giving them water that's not a solution. That's not a solution. So
Yeah, I agree. Thank you, Mary. Thank you very much. Where were you from?
I'm from Southern California. I'm from South Pasadena, near Los Angeles, suburb of Los Angeles.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
Much appreciated. We have several members of
You're the Midwest,
California.
right? You're the Midwest. You're like near Chicago. Yeah.
Well,
Some of us.
some of us are. I mean, I'm 3.5 hours south of Chicago, but everybody out here is either we're somewhere near Chicago. Yes, I understand.
My husband's
Um,
from Chicago, so I've
I
been to
get that.
Chicago a few times. It's a great big little town.
It is a great big little town. You're right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mary. Bruce, you're up next.
I've been posting in the chat some articles on this executive order and what it does, and I'm about to post the executive order. Notice
sir.
what he called it: ending crime and disorder in American streets.
Yes.
I mean, that's how he's looking at this, and he's forcing people to do things. And when I worked with the school district, we had a lot of, well, not a lot, but some contact homeless students, and they're protected by the McKinney-Vento federal statute. And they're given a lot of rights because you realize they might be moving around, and they're entitled to go to the school of origin where they started, and they're given other types of services. In fact, our district even had a person that just dealt with those students, because there were a number of them. Some of them live in cars, some of them live temporarily in hotels. And there's a definition of homelessness, and it's a real problem. And to deal with it in the way he's dealing with it, in terms of forcing mental health or institutionalized or in jail, I mean, it's just making it worse from what I've read. And these are articles people might want to take a look at. So
Yeah,
that's all I have to say at this point.
thank you. He's restricting the harm reduction and housing first programs, which were helping that very problem. And the order ends federal funding for the harm reduction initiatives such as clean needle programs and it actually opposes the housing first models, which provided the housing without requiring treatment participation. Instead, it conditions federal homelessness in assistance on participation in mental health or substance abuse programs. It completely takes away like the help model. And like I agree. I'm sorry. I agree with everything you just said. Yes. Constance. Yes.
Yeah, I don't want to be a fatalist. I don't want to be, but perhaps I am. But uh does anyone, smell the possibility of his requiring homeless people to go to asylums or, incarceration of some sort
That's part of it.
in lieu of in exchange for a dependent, that their citizenship would be dependent on their compliance and going to, a hospital or some form of incarceration. I mean, we're so close to that at this point. He's toying with depriving people of their citizenship, that I wouldn't be surprised at all if that kind of, worms its way into
This requires data collection and law, like this requires them to give over all of their information. It requires like,
yeah,
they're basically required to give over of themselves.
right, right.
But as if they were born in this country, good luck trying to get rid of their citizenship. I don't
hope
think they
so.
can do it.
Okay.
And you can renounce your citizenship, but that's a person wanting to do it.
Yeah.
I don't think he can do it. And if they're naturalized, there are various statutes as to reasons, and I don't know this would fit into any of those reasons. It's, for instance, if you lied on your citizenship application, for instance, if you were a Nazi war criminal, that was used to denaturalize a few people and they were sent back to Europe. I mean, it's been used in other instances too for lying on their applications. But I don't know that this would be a basis if you're naturalized. And in terms of the residents, that could be a problem for them if they're if they're residents and not citizens.
Right. Thank you for talking me down from the ledge, Bruce. Actually, but if I trusted the Supreme Court more, I would feel better about everything you just said. But I'm losing trust, in great amounts on an almost daily basis. So, but I do know, I don't want to be that negative. I do know that there are some things that are still constitutional and kind of sacrosanct, and perhaps that's one of them. I hope so.
Yeah, thank you, Constance. Okay, Dr. Chris, what's up?
Yeah, so I just wanted to add to what Constance was saying, take it a little different direction. I hate that this is such a dark side, but I am starting to see the dots being connected. So you have a regime that has cut social safety net programs, from healthcare to food assistance, that will likely result in more people being unhoused. In addition to that, you have this influence by people like Curtis Yarvin, who influences JD Vance and the whole tech bros, who believe that poor people are kind of that we need to get rid of poor people. Like at one point in one of Curtis Yarvin's writings, he actually said we need to burn them and use them as biofeed. Okay, so I mean, this is bringing back some really dark stuff from the Nazi times. And then you have this thing that's happening with concentration camps, as well as now as establishing these mental institutions, which at the very time that you're cutting health funding. So then what it's going to mean is privatized mental institutions that are going to be, you know, just like storage facilities for people that are mentally, you know, have mental health issues. And so can you see where this is going? I mean, it's like the undesirables, we're literally taking them off the street and putting them in privatized, because that's what I think it's going to be, because they've cut, you know, billions of dollars in normal healthcare funding plus HUD housing. I mean, we've had people on this call say, if I lose my HUD housing and my Medicaid, I am going to be homeless. We have people in our group that have said that. So anyway, it's very dark, and it's very scary what's going on. I hope we can bring some attention to it when we get to our action plan portion. Thanks.
So to summarize, they seeks to increase involuntary treatment and institutionalization of homeless individuals with mental health and addiction issues. Prioritizes law enforcement approaches over housing-based or harm reduction programs. Conditions federal funding on enforcement of anti-camping and drug laws and mandatory treatment participation. Has sparked strong opposition from civil rights and homelessness advocacy organizations. Thankfully. Yes, Julie, you're up next.
I just wanted to kind of further what where Chris was going with everything. The next step is basically slavery. They won't have people working, they will make those people work. And that will be the free labor that they seek. And then there you have the competition to bring down the labor unions. You know, it's all connected. It's all the connecting of the dots. And yeah, I feel like we're going back to the Middle Ages here, or and I wanna try to find some positive here, and so I'm gonna say possible salvation via the local government states. I know they're trying to cover that by saying you can't have sanctuary cities, you can't have, but whatever happened to them staying out of the state's business and the big government? This is nothing but big government. So we need to switch the messaging on saying, hey, this is big government, big time big government, and coming into the localities and telling them what to do with their homeless people and their local, not state, but even more local laws. It's the opposite of what they've been telling us for a very long time.
Cecilia, can I respond a little bit?
Yes, please go ahead.
Julie, unfortunately, under Trump, they've been expanding federal government all over the place, contrary to the normal or past Republican Party positions. They used to want smaller government, and look at what they're doing. They're taking, control over reproductive freedom for women. They're taking control like anything over these ICE issues. They're taking control with universities. Brown University even signed a settlement today. They're all capitulating. Even Harvard's considering that because the risks are too high. They're trying to take control of law firms. And then today there was a lot of programs about the judiciary, how they're taking over they filed this big complaint against all the Maryland federal judges. They filed this major complaint against Boasberg, who issued opinions contrary to what, opposing them. And it goes on and on and on. And that's part of Project 2025, that they're becoming big government Republicans instead of what they used to be part of. You don't hear Bush talking about anything in favor of Trump.
Right. I think the messaging needs to get to their base, the MAGAs that have sworn by this anti-big government, that they were all against the big government. And that all of what you just said needs to be amplified to the MAGA people and let them know, make them see what in reality is occurring. Because I don't know if they're feeling it or realizing it or want to know about it, but it like you said, it's definitely happening.
Julie, let me just explain to you real quick the conversation that I had over Thanksgiving when I tried to explain to my uncle how Project 2025 was big government. Like when I tried to explain that Project 2025 to my uncle, who is a Trumplican through and through, I was like, don't you understand that this is reframing our government, our entire government? So that is big government. They're taking over the government. And I was like trying to explain they're reshaping it into a big government. They're going to have, his own troop of special agents, like his own ICE agents. They don't see it like that. They see it as their own Christian government, like remaking it as their own.
So we're back to the Crusades, are we?
Yeah, they're making it like they're getting rid of the liberal problem. They're getting rid of the liberal, like the liberalism is the problem. So if they get rid of the liberalism, then it'll be fine. It doesn't matter if it's replaced with big government that is full of Christo-feudalism.
They don't realize that it was a bait and switch. They don't realize that they were.
I don't even, I think some of them actually do realize it.
Yeah,
I think they have now accepted their fate, is what I'm saying. Rebecca, are you raising your hand?
I'm raising my hand because I don't know how to, as a co-host, I don't know how to raise my hand.
Oh, okay.
I can't find, because I'm sharing my screen, I can't find my Zoom
you're sharing
menu.
your screen. Right. Raise your hand. Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, one of the many things about this executive order that infuriates me is that it enshrines these requirements that people who suffer from mental illness or have challenges with addiction, whatever the case may be, that they sometimes will be forced to be committed into these private, largely privatized institutions, but there's no funding for it. There was no funding that was part of this executive order. So in effect, what will be required is that private individuals and organizations stand up to meet the need, or people will die in that gap. And Adrian raised a point that is haunting my heart today that this is kind of like damned if you do, damned if you don't type situation. Because so up until this morning, I was worried about what happens if we can't assemble mutual aid organizations to meet the needs of all of these vulnerable groups. Whether when the federal funding for the food pantry vanishes, when rural hospitals close, who's going to stand up and help people then? Well, it's going to have to be private individuals or organizations. So that was what I was worried about until this morning. And then Adrian raised the point, well, if we succeed in taking care of people through these private means, then Republicans will say, well, we told you all along that that's how it should be handled, that it shouldn't be a government handout, and that and it pisses me off that I feel like we were outsmarted there, and people are going to die, and my heart is broken.
Boot money.
Don't let your heart be broken. There's one flaw in Adrian's argument, right? And okay, guys. Run Adrian's argument by me again, Cecilia, because I'm blanking on it now. And I had a point, but because she leaves one thing out that Rebecca really has absorbed.
Well, okay, if we actually get all of the private organizations to feed everyone,
that's it. We're never going to get enough.
yeah,
There's too many people. The more that we keep out, the more drop in. We'll always be chasing it. It'll never happen. That's why government got it to begin with. It reduces the stability of the civilization.
we actually don't feed everybody now.
That's true.
Because it's a property issue. We could feed the whole world. There's that much food, but somebody else owns it.
So Marilyn is asking in the chat, she's saying that her microphone is fried, and what about getting into solutions? Do we feel like
yes.
we're at that stage of the soup?
Yeah, we
Everybody? Okay, let's do it.
My microphone's also frozen. Can I offer a solution?
Yeah.
Go for it, Bruce.
Is not
Okay.
fried.
I'm wondering where the litigation is. I haven't heard that any lawsuit's been filed yet challenging this. And one of the bases is, and I had actually posted this in Coffee and Conversation, although I don't know it was in the minutes. You've heard me talk about Judge Ludig before. He was a very conservative judge, but he's very much.
Oh, okay. Now you have frozen, Bruce. Bruce? Well, okay, there has actually been litigation.
Trump's taking powers that need to go before Congress to do these things. And he's, expanding illegally the power of the presidency and the executive. So there is basis, in addition to maybe the substance, but also the process. Are people hearing me?
We are now.
Okay. There's a process there that isn't followed, and Trump just issues executive orders willy-nilly, and these are things that really should have gone before Congress. So that's a potential solution.
Okay, I will say that the ACLU publicly condemned the order, emphasizing that it criminalizes homelessness and mental illness by expanding indefinite forced treatments and prioritizing enforcement over housing and healthcare solutions. The senior staff attorney highlighted concerns that forced institutionalization is ineffective, dangerous, and violates the rights, dignity, and vulnerable people. Okay, and then the National Homelessness Law Center also strongly condemned the order. Okay, they're strongly condemning it, but I'm not seeing anything that they're doing about it. Legal advocacy groups and rights organizations have raised serious concerns, but I don't. Okay, so
It's
court
not
filing.
something you can just file a lawsuit. You got to prepare it. So
Right.
it could be in the process. I
I'm
tell
think-
you.
Yeah, I think that maybe they might be in the process, maybe. Who knows? Okay. So as we move on to this portion, let me hide that for a minute. Time to brainstorm. So, what concrete steps can we take to educate ourselves and others, combat misinformation, speak up publicly for those who can't, take risks to organize events to interrupt the system of harm, build lasting relationships or coalitions, influence lawmakers to allocate funding to mutual aid and direct relief. Like Bruce was saying, and to help the ACLU or the National Homelessness Law Center or the legal advocacy groups and rights organizations that other than those two. Jose, I knew I could count on you. Sir, unmute.
Okay, yes. It's good to know I can be counted on. Yeah. Okay, here's what I'm thinking. All right. One, learn about mutual aid. Okay. It's something, okay. Like talk to this might seem a little strange to say it, but basically talk to your local anarchist, okay? Because if you talk to those type of people, basically they always do mutual aid or helping the community type things, basically, at least the active ones. The Food Not Bombs people are a type of group you can talk to, basically. The Backbone Campaign, trying to think of other activist groups, but nothing comes to mind at the moment, basically. Rapid response, okay, like the immigration rapid response people. I don't know if you are aware of any local groups like that in your areas, but I've been a part of one, you know and basically, we help out when there are sightings for the police with trying to get immigrant people, so I thought we could use some of their tactics, basically, and do that, apply it to what they try to shake down homeless people, apparently.
Yeah.
And yeah, and uh let's see. Oh wait, I already said the Backbone Campaign, but they're worth mentioning again. And just like uh basically, might as well also say it, just learn the tactics they did during the French Resistance, or any occupied country did during France, because if it seems, because this executive order seems is making everybody shake in their boots a little bit, like that's what's happening, then we might as well learn what they did too. But yeah, and I don't know where else we can, and I'll probably put something in the Discord about where we can put more about activist training later. But yeah, that's all I got for right now.
That's great. Thank you. And we do have the rapid response forming in my area. We are doing it with, oh my gosh, why did I just forget who we're doing it with? PLM? No, the socialists. They're socialists.
PSL,
There we
Cecilia.
go. Thank you.
Party for Socialism and Liberation. Yeah.
Yes. Party for Socialism and Liberation. We are partnering with them for the Know Your Rights training and all of that in my area and the rapid response. But that's a great idea. Since we're already doing that bit with ICE and everything, we could just thank you, Jose. And talking to our local anarchists, that's also a great idea. Sharon. Hello, Miss Sharon. Yes,
Hi.
I know I need to call you.
Well, first of all, we had an earthquake out here. I don't know whether you
Oh
heard.
dear.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
did not hear about that.
yeah.
I'm hoping you're doing all right.
Oh, yeah. I got the jolt. The
Yeah.
house just all of a sudden shook. And I was like, okay, that's an earthquake. But anyway, we have a program in some of the areas out here where they are taking for example, senior citizens can't, that have room in their house, but they having problems keeping up financially, and they're trying to match different people to move in with them and kind of co-partner to live
Cohabitate.
together. And that may be
Yeah.
something that we can kind of look into, because with all the cuts coming down, there's going to be some senior citizens that will probably lose their house. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You know, it may be paid for, but can they pay the taxes? And if they could get a compatible roommate, and that's what they're doing, you know, doing evaluations and trying to pair them up with, you know, interest and things like that. So that's something that we can think about doing. And in
That's
fact, my hairdresser, she she had 2 extra rooms because her children moved out. And what she did was take some roomers. These are like traveling nurses. And so if we can get an organization that can spearhead that, and just we'll get a lot of people off the street.
yeah, that would be excellent.
Yeah.
We would need background checks. There would mean there's a
I mean,
lot
there's a lot of
going
you
into that.
got to go through. Yeah.
Yeah, but
You gotta,
still, that's an excellent idea. And with everything that's about to happen, oh my gosh, there's so much.
yeah,
That's such a good idea, Miss Sharon. Thank you.
you're welcome. And you got
Okay.
my email, right?
Yes, I did. I know. I need to call you.
Okay, then.
We got work to do. I know.
I know. All right. Thank you.
Bye.
That's it.
Thank you. Okay. All right, Miss Constance. Constantly Constance. You're up next. Oh, you need to unmute. There you go.
So just as I was inspired by the gentleman who talked about activist training, so I did a quick AI um, uh, AI chat search for who offers activist training, and the answer is Indivisible for one. So we
Yeah.
could explore Indivisibles, someone, you know, conducting activist training for us. There's another group called Training for Change. This organization provides workshops on nonviolent direct action, grassroots organizing, and effective campaigning. The Center for Progressive Leadership, they offer training sessions aimed at developing leaders in progressive movements. Grassroots Leadership, they provide training focused on community organizing and social justice activism. And I mentioned Indivisible. The next one is local community organizations. Many local activist groups and nonprofits host free training sessions on various aspects of activism, including organizing, advocacy, and public speaking. So, you know, one thing we could do is explore, first of all, Indivisible's ability to somehow train us in some capacity for activist training. And one, maybe, you know, one of the sorting soup calls or something.
I think that's a
Or
great
a
idea.
special session. And then maybe we could explore also some of these other groups.
Yeah. Thank you.
Because I
Yeah.
think I'm feeling, I'm myself, and I'm feeling the, you know, the frustration and uh, the, yeah, the frustration, I'll just leave it at that, with others on the call who just want, you know, are feeling overwhelmed by what they're hearing and seeing on a daily basis and want to do something about it. And
Yes.
we're coming together this way to find out what we can do about it, and maybe hooking up with, you know, larger groups that know how to do things about it would get us started in the right direction.
Yes. When I was looking at like just oh, I'm sorry, Susan, I was, yes,
Okay.
thank you, Constant.
Indivisible actually is in the middle of a 3-part series on training right now.
Yeah,
And-
we're all doing that. Sorry, go on.
Oh,
Susan.
okay. Okay. So, and it's been incredibly helpful. And I think what they're trying to get us all to do is to have individual meetings with groups in our areas to build a coalition, and then the coalitions can, meet together. And so we need to get a lot of people trained so that we can then build, because we can't go anywhere if people aren't together on this and working together, because we need a lot of people working together.
Yeah, that's not, I mean, yes, that is what the 1 million rising training, that's not exactly what the activist, is that what you were talking about, Constance? I don't think that's.
Yeah, I don't know exactly even how you would define activist training from another kind of training, but I'm certainly willing to try to find out more and see what is the best fit for what are the options, and then how to make your choices based on those options.
Well, I think we're all going to the 1 million rising training.
Okay.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Susan, like we in Indivisible,
okay, I missed that last night. I missed that. So,
oh, well,
hey, Cecilia, can I just add to what you're saying? So,
yes.
Because there's some people that are on this call, and Indivisible is a really large organization. So some people in Indivisible may not necessarily know about the training. So it might be good to drop that in the chat. And then the point of the person who just was speaking, I think the idea of having coalition meetings. So you've heard Sharon talk about the need to get community churches more involved. And of course, Cecilia talked about PSL. So we have a number of groups that are organizing to resist or fill in to stop the harm. So maybe if in your local area, there isn't a coalition, if you will, because I know in San Antonio, we're in the process of realizing that we need to have a coalition group, so that's another thing. And then just everyone keep in mind that we push back hard and are still pushing back hard on Gaza. And as a result of that, some of our own Democratic representatives change their position. So let's keep flooding the zone in terms of our representatives and say, you've got to do something about this. Like, let's not assume it's a foregone conclusion that they can dismantle all these safety support systems for the homeless and the people with mental illness. Let's push back on that too, because at some point it's going to cross over to people who have family that have mental health issues, and they're going to say, wait a minute, this is going to impact Uncle Joe or whatever. So we've got to work a couple prong approach, right? So yes, plan for some safety nets to fill in the gap, but don't consider it a foregone conclusion that these are permanent changes that we're just going to say, oh, well, he signed an executive order, so I guess, it's a done deal. We can push back. He's changed. He has not changed. Let me get that right. Okay. But he has rescinded and or rolled back some of the things after pushback from citizens and voters. And like I said, your reps want to be reelected, so put some pressure on your reps, because they're keeping track of the calls and the letters and all the stuff that you write. Thanks.
Sorry. Yes. Okay. Susan, I spoke too soon. And Constance, you will get the recording of last night's 1 million rising. I always forget that everybody is not in my head, everybody is not up here. And yeah, that is my problem. Terribly sorry, y'all. Okay. So as I was saying, that indivisible training, that activist training that was listed there, that might be the 1 million rising. We don't know yet, but we'll find out, and we will see if we can find some other activist trainings and see what those look like, and to see how we might compare those. And that would be a great compare and contrast to see what kind of information we can get. Constance, did you have more to add, or were you finished?
I would just say that if we know anybody, and I'm thinking of one person I know who is in Illinois state government, she's our state rep. If we can reach out to people who know, have a better, have a feel of what organizations might be good to reach out to, maybe between now and the next call, get in touch with that person and come back to the next call with, that kind of feedback, because I for one am planning to now contact Mary Beth Canty, who is our House rep in Illinois, and see what she might suggest. That's one idea, and we all have other people we might tap for that very reason as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And Mary, you are up next.
Okay, in my indivisible group, well, I have two indivisible groups. One is more cerebral and the other is more hands-on, which I think we need both. But in my more cerebral group, we've been reading texts about successfully countering regimes, right? On unfair situations. So I listed some of the books, like Waging a Good War is by Thomas Ricks. He is a like a war correspondent, and he looks upon the civil rights movement as a war. And it was a peaceful war, okay? But it was most definitely used the tactics and the strategies of warfare in order to be successful, right? To change, to gain civil rights, right? So something that I read is that there needs to be a very clear goal set based on what the people believe of themselves, what they want, who they are, and they need to come up with tactics, actual strategies to achieve those goals, and there needs to be training. And if you look at what happened during the civil rights movement, that's exactly what happened with things like this, the Montgomery boycott, bus boycott, and so on. They were very, very set. It was very well planned. It wasn't just everybody just doing whatever they wanted to. It was very, very well planned and organized, and people got on board in one way or another. And they had to keep changing. They had to keep adapting as they went along. It's not like everything went along smoothly. There were setbacks, but they were able to pivot. Right, always keeping in mind their goals, the tactics, which included things like either withholding support or demanding support. Right, it was kind of like a two-way kind of thing. And then training people. We do need to be trained. I went to an AFL-CIO training in nonviolent resistance, which is not the same as being passive. Nonviolent resistance is very, very, very active. You have to really come up with ways to counter the regime, and you have to be very active. But it's not just, I'm going to lay down and take it, right? It's not that at all. I'm recommending Pramila Jayapal's training, Resistance Lab. She's a representative. Yeah. She's a representative up in Washington. So it's a wonderful training. And it talks about the pillars that uphold a regime. Right? The pillars that uphold any government, right? But in this particular, we think of in terms of what's holding up the regime, and it's things like the military and education and religion and so on. There's about 6 or 7 different pillars that need to be essentially attacked, weakened, right? And you do that by countering the narrative. If they say, well, it's this way, you say, no, that is not my story. And people need to speak up and counter those narratives and speak up and speak up and speak up. Yeah. So I think that's my time.
Thank you so much. And yes, Ms. Jaipal's that resistance lab training was amazing, and she gives amazing resources, and the breakout labs or breakout sessions, they're incredibly lucrative and just a great time to
Mhm.
yes, I highly suggest that. Thank
Mhm.
you. You're absolutely correct. All right. Deanna, you're up next.
Hello. I was
Hello.
kind of talking on chat there. I have taken that Resist Trump training. I'm in the middle of it. It's several, I think it's like 12 weeks, and it's a different topic every week and different speakers. And I put all the in the chat, all the links to that. It's out of Austin with that NEB. He'd actually be a really good resource. I met him because I'm in another group. I'm in the Northwest, and it's called Fourth Branch, and he spoke to our group there. And so he's out of Austin, and he's the, the leader of the whole thing that resists Trump, and he's trying to start different chapters in different cities, and it's a really good class. So anyway, I put all the links in the chat about it, and I just hope,
Thank you.
It's just, instead of reinventing the wheel, you might as well tag onto it and just call into their Zoom or whatever.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Or
Okay.
I can't really lead it, but I can at least tell you what I've done and get to the connection. So thanks.
Yeah. Thank you. I lost you. You put your hand down before I could see, like I couldn't see you when you were talking.
Oh, sorry. Let's see.
No. That's okay. That's okay. I just lost
There.
you.
Okay, there. We're having some sort of water issue, and they're saying to boil water, so I'm getting the calls, when you get a call in on another line. So
where are you from?
I actually live here in a suburb of Portland, Oregon.
Oh, lovely. I love Portland. Oh, okay. Well, thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you so much for calling in, and yes, good luck with the water. Oh, I hate it when something's wrong with the water. Okay. How are we doing on time? Oh goodness. We're good. We're doing all right on time. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
we're okay.
We're okay.
I'm going to, I think, I think for myself, a call to action here would be for states that have blue trifectas, which I know isn't a ton of them, but I think there's like 11 or 12. This is clearly an opportunity for us to use this as an argument to lobby for increased funding for addiction programs or mental health resources. It's clearly not going to cover the entire gap and counteract all of the harm that this is going to cause, but I think somebody in the chat did echo this and say that maybe our state government can help in some cases. And I think we're best positioned to do that in states where we have the blue trifecta.
And unfortunately, I mean, y'all, I don't even want to think about what's going to happen in red states. Like I don't even know. I mean, this doesn't mean you shouldn't fight. This you should still lobby in those states. You should still call your representatives in those states. You should still do every single thing you possibly can in those states. But yeah, I doubt that the response will be
Well, and unfortunately, when harm does come to people, we don't want that, but it's pretty effective messaging. If you don't want Grandma or Uncle Joe to come to harm, it's pretty clear that this kind of executive order is not there to actually solve problems. It's there to sweep it under the rug, and they're not even putting any money toward it. So we can use that as messaging.
Yeah.
with that, maybe it's a good time for us to close out a little bit
Yeah.
because we do have some other programming that starts in about an hour and 45 minutes.
We do have Vision Forward tonight, y'all. It's a big one tonight. But next week I'm actually going to be on vacation, so I don't know what y'all are going to get up to be honest. You might have big parties while I'm gone. Who knows? I mean, I don't know. But I do hope y'all have fun while I'm gone, to be honest. I hope you have great conversations. I look forward to watching the recordings. I might pop in. You never know. But I hope you have really good conversations, get in deep with the soup. And
Deanna is asking in the chat, what is Vision Forward? Dr. Chris, would you like to, are you available to come off mute and speak to this?
I was part of creating Vision Forward. Nobody remembers that I was part of creating that.
No,
but okay.
I know you are, but I'm also imagining that you might be tired of talking and using your brain.
Yes, that is true. Dr. Chris, are you still with us? Are you with us?
Maybe she's dealing with
Oh,
Bear
no.
County.
Is she not with us anymore?
There, but there she is.
I'm here, but I'm driving. If somebody else could on the team could speak to
Oh
it.
yeah, okay, then for
Sorry.
sure I can totally talk about what okay, Vision Forward. All right, sorry, I really wasn't. Vision Forward is it came out, it's another one of our break off groups that came out of a very long coffee and conversation after hours, where we realized that we needed a group that was focusing on the messaging, right? But not just the messaging. We needed to talk about who we were as Democrats, big D, little d Democrats, and who we were as a group. And then it turned into more of who we were just as a movement. So forget about the Democrat label, who we were as a progressive movement, and what our vision was, and what we wanted to see after this mess, right? Because we know we're going to win. We know we're going to, because we're the good guys. The good guys always win. So what do we want to see after this, right? What do we want to see for our kids? What do we want to see for our grandkids? What is the vision forward? And that is what we are coming together tonight to talk about. The first meeting, we talked about who we who we were. And now tonight we're going to talk about the vision, and as it comes together, what we're going to see, what do we envision afterward, if we could create the perfect democracy on Venus, what would it look like? Like, for real. So, hi, Ruby. So that's what we are trying to do. That's what we're trying to accomplish. And we really want you to open your mind to that and your heart to that, and think about what the Constitution actually promised, y'all. Like, we were promised that. We were promised something greater than what we got. And it's time we take it. It's time we make it. And that whenever any form of government becomes destructive, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it and to institute new government. That is in our Declaration of Independence. So, it's about time. It's time for our vision to come out. And we'd love for all of you to be there. It's on the same link at 7:00 tonight.
That's exactly right. And I put in the Mobilize link in the chat as well, if folks want that.
Well,
So with that, do we want to, is Bill around? Does he want to
yeah, he
close
actually
us
just
out?
got up. I'm not sure. He actually just got up. So I
Okay.
really thank you all so much for being a part of this conversation. Again, thank you so much for being a part of the soup. This one wasn't as terrible as Tuesday's chat. Thank you again. And I mean terrible in that deep pit in your stomach kind of way, you know, that feeling that you can't do anything. You know what I'm saying? That we don't have that we can't do anything. And I hope that we don't have that feeling today because we can do something. So yeah. Today, yeah, I hope y'all just have a good day. I hope that be kind to one another. Go out and oh, yes, Constance.
Rebecca, I didn't see your link to join the 7 p.m. meeting. Could you put that in again? Would that be asking too much?
Oh, sure. There you go.
Thank you so much.
Hey, Cecilia, can you also remind everybody about the 5-call app? Because
Right.
there's scripts in there on Gaza and maybe the executive order, but I'm not 100% sure on that. I think so. I think both. If everybody could call.
I can. And that is 5calls.org or the 5calls app. If you don't already have that, oops.
And maybe just explain a little bit about what it is for the people who are new in this call.
Right. So if you don't already know what that is, 5calls is an app. Or you can go to 5calls.org. And it okay, before I get to 5calls, you don't need to sign up for Vision Forward. You just need to show up. Just show up to tonight, this same link. Okay, 5calls.org is or the app is super easy. Okay, you just go to 5calls.org or you go to the app and it will give you the list of topics, all these hot topics that we talk about, or all of the horrific things that you see in the news. They're usually just listed there for you to call your senators or your representatives. You put in your address and it will give you your senator and your representative, and it will literally allow you to dial their direct line. And it not only lets you dial them directly, but it gives you a script for you to be able just to call and say exactly, I disagree with this right here. And and that gives you a way to just call them, tell them exactly, this is what I don't like this. And you don't have to worry about what you have to say because it's right there. And then you've done your duty. You called your representative. You said your piece, and then they log your address. And that's when we say call your representatives, that's what we mean. And 5calls helps you do that. Yes, Constance.
I'm sorry, I do not need to have my hand raised. I don't know why it is raised, so there we go.
Okay.
All right, I must have done it by mistake.
That is okay.
Right.
All right. Is there anything else?
Bill's back.
Bill's back. All right. Are we done for the day? Bill, have we finished sorting soup today? Have we finished the?
I think we've stirred the soup and we've sorted it and we've splashed a little bit.
We splashed a little bit all over. That was fun today.
So we do have Vision Forward in a couple hours at 7 o'clock Central Time. And I would say this is kind of a don't miss. We have a lot of signups for it. I think there are over 200 right now. And we should get good attendance. All this, everything that we do, all of these calls, everything is just to increase the activation of the folks that maybe weren't paying as much attention before the elections and now have to. And we're just getting people involved. The vision forward really will kick in once we get people involved, and we get people that are really buy in to the direction that we're going. So each one of these is a step, and it's amazing to see the number of people that join, the people who can contribute with their comments, etc. It's an amazing thing that you've got going here, Cecilia. And with you gone next week, I can hardly wait to see. Maybe Beth will take over. Maybe Constance. Maybe Rebecca.
No.
All right, I'm gonna close out the video, but I'm just going to one more time tell everybody that the video is complete now. It is up on the NWSOFA, which stands for Northwest Suburbs Organizing for Action, NWSOFA.org. You go up to the website and you click on the top where it says YouTube channel, and it gives you a link. You click on that, and then you go to like 300 videos that are kind of hanging out there. There's 5 categories. You click the one that says live videos, and you'll see the videos that we've done over the last 2 weeks. And today is there. And it's just cool to see the number of people that are literally reviewing, clicking on, clicking off. I kind of watch that stuff, so it's kind of fun for me. I get into that. So let's just continue to have great conversations and create that action off of that. And I think you hit some things today. I know Constant was talking this morning on Coffee and Conversation about making calls while you're in your apps, while you're talking to people. I think it's great. We need to be able to do these multitasking things at the same time. Cecilia, huge shout out for you. You've been just all day long been running these Zooms, but wonderful job. Rebecca, I don't know how you